What you're going to hear today is a few experiences and thoughts from people who have a variety of positions around the UC and in this sort of UC ecosystem, but are united around the idea that what we need is to save our science and save our UC, save the values of our UC and the UC that we love and that has been a major economic engine in the state of California, for 100 years, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then I'll call up some additional terrific speakers that we have. So you might wonder who I am. My name is Anna Markowitz, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Education at UCLA. I'm also proud to be the president of the executive board of the UCLA Faculty Association, which is affiliated with CUCFA, the Council of UC Faculty Associations. Why am I here today? You might not think education research is deeply affected by this, but actually NSF is a major funder for us because we're thinking about training the scientists of tomorrow. And beyond that, I care about public education and I care a lot about California. And what's happening right now is a threat to both of these. The cutting of our NIH and NSF grants and the $1 billion ransom we're experiencing is nothing short of federal overreach into California's public education. And of course, we know that education famously is a state's right. This is going to have massive consequences that will affect the Californians I love for decades to come. The UC employs more than 500,000 people and is the second largest provider of healthcare in the state. It employs from unions such as AFSCME, UPT, CNA, UAW, and AFT. The UC serves students, it is the site of groundbreaking research, and engages in myriad community partnerships to bolster and support the idea of amazing everyday Californians. And this state is great. The ideas are great. It's the fourth largest economy in the world, in no small part thanks to the UC. In fact, the UC alone generates $21 for every single dollar invested. That's why this funding crisis is so pernicious. It's not only stopping essential research, training, and clinical trials right now, shuttering labs, laying off workers with incredible talent, but it's also setting the scene for a decimation of the academic and clinical freedom that makes the UC great. The ability of experts to think, teach, write, and research without political interference and aligned with the expertise they have is essential for maintaining our excellence and for serving our students, patients, and community members. Really, that's why we're here in Sacramento, to advocate for a third way, for a public solution to a public problem in public education. We are here to talk to our elected officials about potential strategies that will open our labs right now and undercut the extortion effort that more than 160 legal scholars across the UC have described as illegal, which I personally find immoral, and which many see as an effort to fundamentally change our mission and values. A change to our mission and values is no small thing. Many of us have been proud to work at the UC because of its mission, because of its commitment to serving all Californians, no matter race, creed, religion, to seeking redress for long-standing inequalities and creating a better and more innovative future, our history of providing gender-affirming care, and our legacy as the greatest public good in this state. In standing here today, we're standing with all Californians, present and future, and we're also standing with communities of color, with LGBTQIA Californians, with student protesters and activists who dare to dream of a better world, for our undocumented colleagues, friends, and community members, with workers and the future. We're here representing the more than 1,200 UC professors who signed a letter demanding that the UC stand up for its mission and values and resist this extortion. We're here to find a way to do that. We want a solution, and we want one that ensures the future of public education, which is a solution that ensures our academic and clinical freedom. California's public schools, the UC, but also our CSU, community college, and TK-12 counterparts have created the California success we see today. We have the means thanks to the effort of the institutions, and we have the obligation. Let's act now. Save the UC, stand up for science, and stand up for our values. Thank you. I'd now like to bring our next speaker forward, who's a double UC alumna and amazing organizer and leader, Monique Trinh.
Hi everyone. Am I okay? Should I be louder? I think this is okay. Hi everyone, I'm Monique Trinh. So in my professional life, I serve in roles that span quality improvement, health equity strategy, laboratory stewardship, and restorative practices in academic medicine. But today I'm here in a different capacity as a double alumna, as a concerned native Angelino, and as a first-gen product of the UC system who understands firsthand what's at stake for our state, our families, and our communities. When I speak about science and public health, I carry two things with me: my lived experience as a first-generation college graduate and the lessons my mom left behind. She received research-driven care at UCLA Health. When treatments no longer worked, she joined clinical trials because she believed in paying it forward. Her story showed me that science is not just about discovery, it's also about access. As a restorative practices practitioner, I see these federal funding cuts as harmful. They do not just pause experiments, they ripple outward into classrooms, into communities of color, and into the futures of first-gen students whose opportunities are at risk of closing. Those who feel the harm first and hardest are often those with the fewest resources. Notably, as Dr. Felicia Null, Associate of the Chancellor, reminded us during a recent discussion with Dean of the School of Medicine, they also hold the most profound wisdom about what real solutions require. When budget cuts happen, I don't just read about them in memos. I see the effects in real time. Colleagues lose opportunities, labs close projects early, teams are stretched thin. Families, including my own, feel the strain. These cuts don't just slow innovation, they create waste. They force extremely skilled people to spend more time navigating bureaucratic hurdles, duplicating work, or shifting priorities instead of working at the top of their license. Precious time and resources are spent on whiplash and paperwork rather than advancing research, improving care, or addressing the needs of patients and communities. The result is more than inefficiency. It's a disruption of livelihoods, a limitation on career growth, and a reduction in economic mobility, all of which are social determinants of health that directly shape the well-being of our workforce and the patients they serve. The impact is also economic, as Anna shared. According to the 2021 University of California System-Wide Economic, Fiscal, and Social Impact Analysis, every dollar of state funding for UC generates $21 in economic output, including $9.65 in labor income, $14.32 in added value, and $3.01 in tax revenue. UC-related spending supports more than 529,000 jobs statewide, about 1 in every 45 jobs in California. UC Health specifically contributes disproportionately, accounting for about 37% of jobs reported, 49% of labor income, 45% of economic output, and 46% of tax revenue. UC's economic output is larger than the entire economies of states like Vermont and Wyoming. UC is also one of the world's leading research powerhouses. Across 6 academic health centers and 21 professional schools, UC discoveries have transformed medicine, from CRISPR gene editing to the hepatitis B vaccine, from new cancer therapies to telehealth innovations that reach rural, immigrant, and low-income communities. UC leads the nation in NIH funding, which is the funding that is at risk right now. We produce nearly 10% of all of US academic research, and we hold thousands of patents that translate into better treatments and care. These breakthroughs do not just advance science, they shape everyday health in California and beyond. That's why we must return to our mission, vision, and values. At UCLA Health and the David Geffen School of Medicine in particular, we are guided by our cultural North Star values: doing what's right, making things better, and being kind. Doing what's right means protecting research as a public good. Making things better means ensuring science addresses the social determinants of health, from clean air and housing to access to care. And being kind means centering the wisdom and the needs of those most impacted. Protecting UC science is not just about preserving funding, it's about staying true to who we are. A public institution that improves health, fuels innovation, sustains California's economy, and serves the public good while advancing UCLA's goals for Los Angeles, California, and the world. I'll now pass it to Dr. Po, who comes from the Brain Research Institute.
Hello everybody, my name is Gina Po. I am Director of the Brain Research Institute at UCLA, and that has 320 faculty members and well over 1,000 trainees. But I'm here on a personal mission to help California establish a fund that could protect science now and into the future, and make us more immune to the vagaries of any federal administration. So I think among the 320 faculty, we have almost 100 frozen research projects, and these research projects span from stroke to brain cancer to developmental disorders and intellectual disabilities to just the basics of how our brains work, how we sense the world, and how we make sense of the world. So these colleagues of mine are the best in the world, and the reason why they've been given these grants is because they're doing fundamental work that the whole world values, and they are the best in the world to do it, and that's why they were given the grant. So this is really kind of like the world, the United States is shooting itself in the foot, or maybe, since it's the brain, shooting itself in the head over these political policies that just don't make any sense. And so I'm hoping that we in California, I'm a California native. I was born in Los Angeles, raised in Los Angeles and San Diego, educated in the public system. I went to Stanford for undergraduate. I went to UCLA for my PhD, and I'm back here and fighting and really so happy to be part of what we're doing here. So I just want to say thanks for this, and I hope that we can all establish this fund and protect our science and all the great things it's doing for the whole world. Science is for everybody. I want to welcome to stage Vidya, who is a postdoctoral trainee at UCLA in one of our fantastic labs. Come on.
My name is Vidya Saravanapandian. I'm a postdoctoral scholar at UCLA. And I've had the privilege of being part of an amazing research community at UCLA, both during my PhD in the neuroscience program at UCLA, as well as my postdoctoral research, where I'm in Dr. Payman Golshani's lab, and as Dr. Gina Po.to and everybody else mentioned earlier, we are hugely impacted by this funding cuts. And I've had this amazing opportunity of being part of a group working on a biomarker for sleep in neurodevelopmental disorders. And I've had this experience where I saw firsthand how my research informed the design of a biomarker, which is now being tested for clinical trial for a rare disease genetic disorder, which is the Droop15q syndrome. So I know the huge impact this is causing, and I'm really, really grateful for all the people that are being here today and participating in this collaborative effort, to create new funds that can be sustainable. And thank you so much. I also want to highlight that I was part of the IRACTA program at UCLA, which is called the Institutional Research and Academic Career Development Award, which is given for postdoctoral scholars that are also passionate about teaching, which does not exist anymore. This was a small group of passionate postdoctoral scholars that got the opportunity to go out to institutions like Cal State LA to teach, and we don't have that opportunity anymore. So we're here for science and for education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and the Hodemain sign is incredible. Next up, we have Professor Michael Shea from Political Science, who is also a member of UCLA Faculty Association Executive Board. Michael.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate all the people who went and organized this. Anna and Elena, who started, and Gina, who I got to know on the ride up here, and Dawn, who came up from UC Davis. It's really great, and Katie's from UC AFT. So I really appreciate everyone being here. So what I'd like to say is simply that, just like everyone has been saying, the University of California is one of the greatest assets of the state of California, with 265,000 employees, 295,000 students, and 2 million graduates. So today, together, we are all speaking out against the Trump administration's attacks on our beloved university in the form of the illegal suspension of $584 million of research grants and an illegal extortion attempt of $1 billion. So like we said before, over 2,600 people, including over 1,200 UC faculty, have signed a letter calling for the UC and the state of California to reject Trump's malicious demands, fight back in court, and cover the shortfall using state and university funds. A letter organized by faculty in the UCLA David Geffen School of Medicine, calling for urgent resources from the UC and the state of California, has been signed by 230 faculty members, which is really unprecedented in the School of Medicine's history. All these faculty members agree that, quote, if this failure to provide unambiguous support is not rectified immediately, the legacy of our university's leadership will include overseeing the dissolution of basic and translational research. So in just 5 days, as mentioned before, 165 UC Law faculty have signed a letter stating, quote, the Trump administration's termination and suspension of federal funds has violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in numerous ways. UCAFT, the Union of UC Lecturers and Librarians, states, we call on President Milliken and the UC Regents to refuse any concessions demanded by Trump's Department of Justice and to stabilize funding for research and teaching in UC. In complete alignment, UAW 4811, the union of over 48,000 graduate student and postdoctoral academic workers, states that, quote, Trump is holding hundreds of millions of dollars hostage meant to find cures for cancer and other diseases in order to impose his political agenda on our university, and the university must use this endowment to ensure bridge funding for all researchers impacted by the funding freezes and use its vast legal resources to challenge the Trump administration's unlawful actions. A group of UC Berkeley faculty, after observing that the university was not going to pursue legal action, took it upon themselves to file suit and thereby successfully restored some of the suspended research grants, an incredible victory. And very recently, just this will be released in media today, over 350 Jewish members of the University of California community have come together in a letter stating, quote, cutting off hundreds of millions of dollars of research funds will do nothing to make UCLA safer for Jews, nor diminish anti-Semitism in the world. In response to Trump's extortion attempts on the UC, Governor Newsom has stated, in a TikTok which we all saw, let me make this crystal clear to everyone watching, we will never ever sell our soul to Donald Trump. State Senator Scott Wiener has stated, quote, Trump is trying to extort UCLA for $1 billion, force it to adopt his racist, transphobic, xenophobic policies, and accept a monitor to control the university. Hard no. UCLA is a California public university subject to California law and built on California values. So together, our UC community, all the unions, all of our organizations, including our UCLA Faculty Association, including the Standard for Science, faculty at UCLA and UC-wide, together we and our elected officials are rejecting outright this malicious and illegal attack on our university system. Conspicuously silent, however, have been the UC Regents and the UC leadership who have stated their willingness to negotiate. UC President James Milliken has stated that the university will engage in what he calls good faith dialogue, even while acknowledging that the $1 billion payment, quote, would completely devastate our country's greatest public university system, as well as inflict great harm on our students and all Californians, unquote. It's obvious to say that you cannot negotiate with people who start from a position of illegality. On Monday, today, a coalition of all of us are joining here for a rally. There's this. We're calling for the passage of SB 829, joint authored by State Senators Scott Wiener, Akilah Weber-Pearson, and Josh Becker and Jerry McInerney. So SB 829 creates the California Institute of Scientific Research, which will give research grants and loans to universities and other research organizations. And one of our organizers, Patrice Cullors, one of the main organizers of the Black Lives Matter movement, is saying we should start calling this the California Futures Fund, because this really is about the future of our state. So soon we'll be meeting with California legislators to explain the name. It's a great name. It's a great name, California Futures Fund. We're also meeting with California legislators to explain the need for immediate action to cover the research shortfall before researchers stop receiving paychecks. Our patients who desperately needed desperately need medical care is funded by federal grants. So a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of federal grants goes directly into patient care for people who are involved in experiments. We want to make sure that their treatments are not suspended. We also want to make sure that our research animals are not left to die without care. And so a lot of labs already, they're already putting down all the research animals. Not only is this inhumane, but it represents the loss of years of research. We cannot allow an administration who uses masked, armed men to snatch people off the street, to extort us into giving up potential cures for diseases that benefit everyone. We cannot allow the administration to extort us into making it even harder for young people of color to enter and thrive in our universities, when 77% of people under 18 in California are people of color and 52% are Latinx. We cannot allow our universities to use Trump administration threats to justify their own austerity plans and fire colleagues who are dedicated to teaching, thereby sacrificing the education of our students. We cannot ignore the expertise of over 160 of our own law faculty and participate in a mockery of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is one of the greatest achievements of the civil rights movement. We cannot allow legal threats to make us participate in the Trump administration's astonishingly cruel attempts to dehumanize trans people, including trans children. Our UC faculty, staff, students, and community members, together with our elected political leaders, are speaking. We are asking everyone in the state of California to listen. We are trying to protect our values, the value of our university, and of our great state, the fourth largest economy in the world. It is time for UC leadership, the UC regents, and the UC president to get on board. Do not be the weak link that imperils us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. And now we want to hear just from a couple of folks who are allied with us. I said it's not just UCLA here, but it's also others, because we understand this to be a broad system-wide effort. So I'm going to start by bringing up Katie Rodgers, UC AFT president and a leader in this educational space.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Rodgers. I am a lecturer at UC Davis, and I'm the statewide president of UC AFT. We represent 6,000 teaching faculty and librarians across the whole UC system. I'm here with UC AFT to stand in solidarity with you all, faculty, researchers, staff, and students at UCLA who are being extorted by the federal government. What's happening at UCLA impacts all of us across the University of California. The government's demands of UCLA mark the first attempt of the federal government to ransom payment from a public university funded by state taxpayers. So what happens next matters to all of us. It's imperative that in their response to this attack, UC leaders negotiate with the knowledge that what's at stake is not just not just research grant funding for UCLA, but the future of federal funding for the UC system, California's political autonomy, and public education across the United States. For that reason, President Milliken and the Regents should exhaust all legal remedies, refuse all concessions, and resist illegal acts by the Trump administration. Today we're hearing stories about how UCLA's research touches the lives of people around the country and across the globe. Without a doubt, the impact of halting medical climate and other research programs will reverberate across our lives for decades. But I'd like to also emphasize the damage these cuts will do to the university as an institution of teaching and learning. The halt of research funds at UCLA and likely across the UC will not only devastate the university, as President Milliken has said, it will deal an irrevocable blow to our state's largest public employer and one of the world's premier institutions of higher learning. Not only will all UC researchers be affected, but all staff, instructors, and perhaps most importantly, all UC students will be directly harmed. Students come from around the state, across the country, and around the world to learn at the University of California. Undergraduates start their UC education in classrooms like mine, very often with aspirations to do research with the folks here today. The work that happens in UCLA and UC labs and research centers doesn't merely result in discoveries and contributions to science, it's where students have yet another opportunity to learn. The federal government's attempts to stifle research and learning at UC and across higher ed are meant to do much more than halt supposedly biased research programs. In fact, the federal administration's demands to restore UCLA's research funding have little to do with research itself, and instead further his agenda in the ongoing culture war, limiting student scholarship opportunities, denying gender-affirming care, and prohibiting campus protests are overt moves to silence and exclude citizens at a public university. These attacks will limit educational opportunities for the broader public and in turn further centralize power among the few. Let's be clear, these federal demands are attempts to resegregate our universities, to banish non-citizens and gender non-conforming people from public life, to suppress free speech, to silence pro-Palestinian activism, and to supersede shared governance on our campuses. potentially undermining collective bargaining rights for all of the UC unionized workers, and I would suggest to harm all UC workers regardless of whether they're unionized at all. Now, more than ever, we must stand together as the UC community as we support UCLA faculty, staff, and most importantly, students who are fighting for us all. Thanks very much.
Finally, to wrap us up, represent another UC and give us a call to action, I have Sal Nicolazzo, who is an associate professor of English at UC Davis and also a member of the UC Davis Faculty Association Executive Board. Sal!
Right, yes, thank you for accommodating the short people. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Shout out to everyone who got up at like 4 a.m. to drive up from LA to be here. Amazing. I did not get up that early, but I am so happy to be here with you. So, as we've been hearing, we are facing a really scary moment for us as researchers, as scholars, as teachers, as anyone who works for the University of California and keeps this institution going. It is a scary way to start the school year. It's not what I would have preferred, but my hope is in solidarity. And when an authoritarian regime attempts a hostile takeover of the nation's largest public research university, or largest research university system, it is solidarity, a refusal to leave anyone behind, that is going to help us fight back. As the people who carry out the research and teaching mission of the UC, we know that this $1 billion ransom note is an attempt to destroy public education, bend institutions to the federal government's will, and steal the money of California's taxpayers. And we also know that we can fight back, right? As we have heard, we have already been fighting back, and we are going to continue to fight back. We are glad that there is political will from our governor to challenge Trump's demand, and we are nonetheless wary that our regents might be signaling some appetite for negotiation. Negotiation in this current atmosphere all too often means sacrificing the most vulnerable and marginalized in the vain hopes of maintaining some semblance of the status quo for the more privileged. And as we've heard, that's a lot of people on the chopping block to be sacrificed. First-gen students, communities of color that depend on the UC for medical care, trans students, trans people who depend on the UCs for medical care, and the entire research and teaching mission of the UC. But our greatest strength lies in adopting the basic ethos of solidarity. An injury to one is an injury to all, and we leave nobody behind. And I've seen this already emerging, right? You're all here out of solidarity. We are getting organized and we are standing together. We're building what it actually takes to fight back, which is the power to ensure that California's research and education is in the hands of those of us who teach UC students, who care for patients at UC hospitals, and who do the work to keep the UC running. And students, faculty members, and staff are leading the way here. Where we lead, the regents will follow. Our governor and legislature must follow through on their refreshingly tough talk by ensuring robust, sustainable funding for public higher education.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. And the people of California need to know that if the UC does choose to sacrifice its core mission, it'll be because 24 regents are empowered to disregard the will of the more than 270,000 of us who do the UC's work of education, research, and patient care. So I don't know if you've seen the UC Stand Up for UC website that the UC has put out. You know, great, we agree with that. That language comes from UC Stand Up, that powerful letter that Michael just noted, drafted by the UCLA Faculty Association. So we are already standing up. That's what we're here to do. And my question is, will the UC stand up for all of us? Will the state of California fund our future? We are here to make sure they do, and we will keep coming back and keep standing up and keep getting organized until that happens. So, thank you.
Thank you much, Sal, and everyone else for these inspiring words. I know that for me, I want to see the 95 grants of the Brain Research Institute restored so I can get treatment when I inevitably have a stroke from all this stress. Now we're going to take sort of a quick break, chat amongst ourselves, and really what we're excited to do is go in and talk to our assembly members who we know care to help them come up with a solution like the California Futures Fund to ensure public funding across the California state systems and to provide the injection that the UC needs right now to allow us to maintain our freedoms and to do our science the way scientists know how. Thank you so much, everyone.